Welcome to an hour of HealthMade Radio. HealthMade is a community for natural health seekers where we educate people about common health conditions and share extensive research on the most effective natural health treatments and promote legislation that protects our health freedoms. A core concept belief is in the innate intelligence and healing power of the body, and if properly supported spiritually, emotionally, and nutritionally, it can find its way back to health. HealthMade Radio will bring information from integrative health experts throughout the world. Health is what you make it. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt, and I will be your host. Today's guest is Karen Rausch Carter. Karen Rausch Carter is a professional Feng Shui educator, consultant, and the best-selling author of Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life. She coaches, trains, and empowers people to use simple and advanced Feng Shui techniques to enrich and improve all areas of their lives. Karen has over 20 years of experience studying and implementing methods and modalities that produce consistent and some say miraculous results. The highlights of her long list of credentials include best-selling author of Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life, and Make a Shift, Change Your Life. Professional Feng Shui consultant, professional member of the International Feng Shui Guild, certified biobiology practitioner, certified performance consultant, master practitioner in advanced neurological repatterning, holistic health counselor, licensed landscape architect, founder of the Academy of Exquisite Living. Karen's varied background regarding design and healthy living is the basis for creating and developing KarenRauschCarter.com. That's Karen, and Rausch is spelled R-A-U-C-H, and Carter, CARTER.com, which is comprehensive resource to support inner and outer environments that generate amazing results. Karen's methodology integrates time-tested research and newly discovered practices for bodies, minds, spirits, and surroundings. Simply stated, Karen is a well-studied and experienced designer of healthy homes and vibrant lifestyles. She motivates her clients and audiences to rethink their day-to-day choices by implementing simple fixes for home, health, relationships, and more. In addition to her teaching and writing, Karen is a highly sought-after motivational speaker who has spoken at hundreds of events. Her Academy of Exquisite Living educates and certifies people to become professional consultants in the same field. Well, Karen, it's such an honor to have you on the show today, and Feng Shui is just something that I'm so fascinated by because, I deal with the human body and how to support it nutritionally, but obviously, the environment where we're in, everything that we're seeing, the energy around us, that is impacting us on such a tremendous level. So I would assume that's all Feng Shui is about, correct?
Everything is about how you tend to your environment, just like a flower you want it to bloom, you would try to address the sun, the soil, the water, trying to get the balance right so it's in perfect harmony with the environment so that it can thrive and bloom. We're just trying to do the same thing with your environment. So what's closest to you has the most impact on you, I would say. So I would look at where you spend the most amount of time and create the environment that is most conducive to you growing and blooming and thriving. So that's what I would say Feng Shui is, just a method of mindfully arranging your environment so that it supports you consistently as opposed to randomly or not at all.
So I'm curious. How did people figure this thing out? There has to be some kind of basic principles behind all of this, and somebody must have thought that this is how we need to do it, and when I do it this way, I feel better.
Exactly. There are certain patterns in the universe, like when light goes through a prism, the rainbow is in a certain order. So there are orders in the patterns of the universe, the way the Farinacci sequence is in a rose flower or an artichoke or something, just looking at the patterns and the mathematics and of all things in our surroundings. And we're just trying to figure out what is best for us. So taking into account what's going on in your life and making those shifts. I think it started, back in the day, I'd say it was more agrarian in nature, set yourself up so the north winds don't blow into your front door, or you can have the best crop yield here, or that you're safe and downwind from the toxic animal smells upwind or whatever, so just trying to figure out what works best. And it was passed down like, don't do this. We already tried that. It didn't work. Do this instead. We found out that was good luck. And so over time, these series of better luck choices in arranging your environment, were written down. And, that's kind of how the many different styles of Feng Shui. I mean, almost every culture in the world has their way of mindfully arranging their homes and environments. And so we're just borrowing from what people have, learning from other people's mistakes. Don't build at the top of the hill. The wind might blow you off. Don't build down at the river banks. The river might rise and wash you away. So, find that somewhere in between the wind and the water, which Feng Shui means wind and water, which is the seen and the unseen forces that can help you bloom and thrive or wipe you off the map. It's your choice. So get mindful about it.
So I'm curious. I mean, so obviously you see patients or clients. You have clients from all over the world. I mean, you've been doing this for a long, long time, and you helped hotels. You've helped. I mean, you've done a lot in this area. I'm curious. What kind of people usually come to you? I mean, what are they looking for? What are their issues? I mean, do they have a specific issue that they say, this is what I need to have addressed, and how can I arrange my environment to get this better?
Right. Well, I'm mostly known for having written the book, Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life. And fortunately for others, unfortunately for me, it talks about like a lot of different issues that might come up in your life, whether it's career, health, relationships, about the kids, So I sort of I have to be a jack of all trades just because that's the people that come my way. I have not niched myself, so to speak, and become a brain surgeon of one thing, but I have, myriad of problems with people just in those topics alone, and people looking to get more respect. Why are they getting passed up for the promotion when they should have been in line for it? To, any type of health issue or fertility or something like that. And I would say that, quite often I am we've tried everything else. Let's try Feng Shui, so I'm like last chance Karen, right? So willing to throw some money at it at that point. And then, oddly enough, that seems to be the one that turns the corner for them. So, when you go to the doctor and you present your ailment, and the doctor addresses it and says, take this or go home and put that salve on or do whatever. And then you go home right back to the environment that created it. I'm the house doctor that goes in and says, well, that's the thing that's actually setting you up to have that hip pain or that headache or that sinus issue or the bloody nose or whatever. And then once we alleviate the actual environmental issue, then you don't have that, that ailment to go back to the doctor with. Makes sense?
So this is something that can be implemented for whatever reason. Let's say that you feel that you are not prosperous enough. If you feel like you're saying, you're being passed up for promotions, you're not respected enough, you're not able to even have children. I mean, you're not fertile enough, or you get a headache, or you get a foot pain, or all of these components that all seems to be either situational, meaning that, well, that's just the way things are at work. It's because I have a boss that doesn't respect me, or because, well, I have a physical ailment. So even with all these things, which seems to be related to something else, you can then correct that by changing your environment in your living space and office.
You are a product of your environment, whether it's micro, what you breathe and what you eat, and, all the way internally to what you, so you either inhaled it, ingested it, injected it, were exposed to it, believed it, or perceived it, because the perception of your environment has a huge impact. It could be a safe, healthy environment, but if somewhere along the line you believe it to be dangerous, your cortisol levels will shoot up no matter how safe it really is. So it's even the perception of your environment is important in the whole play of things. So there's a whole overarching list of things that I might have to look into to see how you are reacting to your environment.
I mean, these small little changes that you can make in your environment that you don't think are that important, and they can really impact you a huge deal. I mean, in health, we have something called epigenetics, where you think that it's only your genes that drives your health, but with epigenetics, it's your lifestyle, how you're thinking, how you're living, and all this kind of the matrix of energy that you put around you will then change your inner core, your being, your thinking. And like you're saying, we're living in a world where it's just energy. And so how you set up your environment around you, you create that structure of energy that is either supporting you or subtracting from you.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Health Made Radio. I'm here with Karen Rausch Carter. She is the best-selling author of Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life, and Make a Shift, Change Your Life. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Health Made Radio. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt. I'm here with Karen Rausch Carter. She is a Feng Shui expert, how to set up your environment to promote health, prosperity, and so much more. So, Karen, what are some of the common mistakes that you see people make that have a huge impact on their health and on their prosperity?
I have been doing this for a few decades, as you have pointed out. And I would say of late that I would say it's the high-techness around the bed is probably the current biggest sort of bugaboo that has come about that wasn't really that impactful, say, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever. People charging their phone next to their bed, people's beds actually plugging in the up and down beds and the heating beds and all these things that have where they have electrical fields and electromagnetic fields around them while they're sleeping. I would say that, if I were to pick on one thing without knowing anything about your house right now, I would try to help you get a good night's sleep because of the importance of, everything that goes with a good night's sleep. And the influx of the high-tech stuff, people have the router in their bedroom or just what's on the other side of their headboard wall that they have not considered as being so close to their head, it's 2 layers of paint, a 2x4 and 2 sheets of drywall away from something really high impacting on the other side of the wall, like an electrical panel or something like that. And so getting your sleep space and your workspace, if you say you sleep 8 hours and you work 8 hours in those 2 spots, I would say looking at those 2 exact spots would be very high impacting in how we can change your life, and low teching it just of recent, is probably the biggest challenge for my clients in trying to maintain their health and actually get a good night's sleep and all that comes along with a good night's sleep.
So, obviously, we live in such a society where high tech is becoming more and more important to just be functional. So, what are some of the remedies that you are suggesting? When you have a router on the other side, or you have, is it to move the router? Don't have the cell phone there. Don't have the TV in there. What should a bedroom look like?
Absolutely, but prudent avoidance is how we go about it. We just try to get you out of the fields. Obviously, like maybe that is just a little bit of distance. Maybe we have to do some shielding, but there are a lot of things, put your phone on, I would not have it next to my nightstand, but whatever. put it on airplane mode so it's not pulsing a radio frequency pulse every 5 minutes through your body as it tries to connect to a cell tower to make sure it's still, linked up. And just if your bed, if there's anything, I would just say get the wires away from your bed. I'm just trying to be like something that everybody might understand. Get your clock, get your lamps, take all the plugs away from the bed instead of behind the bed to plug in. Choose a metal bed choose a wooden bed over a metal or a water bed, just because of the mere fact of how well metal and water conducts electricity. So I'm looking to just down-frag yourself, like, defrag it. And especially those fertility women, I would say that the low-techy solutions work really well to up the ante on the viability of fertility from anecdotal evidence. I can't say anything for sure, right? But I have gotten lots of success for my clients just in the low-techness. Your phone, your laptop, your iPad does not work by magic. It works by pulses of radio waves. There is a size to them. You can measure them, So don't put the iPad on your stomach. Don't put the phone on your stomach. Don't drop the phone in your lap when you're driving. This is what the prudent avoidance is. Get it the farther away from it is, the better. Get the router, away. As a matter of fact, turn your router off at night. That's one less thing inundating your energy field. Those invisible energies, that might be impacting you and you don't even know they are there. So that's more of the healthy home, kind of the contemporary feng shui. And then there's all the traditional feng shui stuff where, they say, take 2 mirrors and call me in the morning, because some feng shui people know it's a mirror here and a crystal there. And yeah, there are those feng shui cures that you can do, those traditional ones that can move the energy in a different direction and disperse it or whatever you're needing to do to it to make it work more in your favor. So there's the ancient art and the contemporary art of feng shui, and all those things have to be considered in your environment.
Yes, just kind of going back to the electrical things that you're talking about, the routers and, cell phones and in your pocket. Obviously there you have, for a man, you have your testes there and your ovaries there for a female. So if you're wanting to get pregnant, we are electrical beings. So, everything is driven by charge. Nutrients are transported into the cells through charges, and also how the sperm and the egg connects. These are electrical charges, and so if you then upset all of that, having this high-tech technology, you're then creating a confusion within your body. So I agree. That's so important. But then you're saying then. You're talking about that it's good to have a wooden bed, because of the electricity, but also the water bed. I know are there other aspects of water bed other than conducting electricity? I know you want to feel kind of like grounded, that being grounded is such an important part.
Yeah. Well, every feng shui cure that I would give, I usually, everybody says, oh, should I paint my front door red? I heard it was good feng shui. It all literally depends on you and what you're trying to achieve in your life. And everybody might, where one person might warrant more water element or earth element, another might want less. So my cures are sort of custom to the exact, person. But yeah, a water bed, I'm just going to leave it as first of all, they have a heating unit, so they are plugged in most of the time. And what could be good for one is not good for another. I don't know. I don't want to villainize. I know it's so funny. People that have read my book, they're like, oh my God, I have a toilet, because the toilet has become the villain in my book, which is comical. And I'm like, I'm happy for you that you actually have one. But what happened when the outhouse came in was truly a moment in time where things did shift, where you used to cook here and sleep here and go poo-poo way out there, and now poo-poo has come in here. And there was a moment, like my grandmother had an outhouse that came in, and I remember how grossed out she was that there was an outhouse in her house. And Grandpa was never allowed to use the in-house. He still had to go to the outhouse. And so there was that moment in time, and now we just take it as, oh, well, of course you have to have a bathroom inside the house, but there was that time about what did we do to ourselves when we brought the outhouse in. And it's looking at, and now it used to be one outhouse in, and now it's like one outhouse per bedroom in, and it's crazy how many square feet are dedicated to the poo-poo aspect as opposed to the cook or the sleep or the party or the have family time or gathering and so forth. So I'm even looking at the balance of that in your house. How are you reacting to the space from a psychological point of view? Is anybody using this room? Why not? I pretty much know why not. Why does that restaurant fail over and over and over? I know why not. These are just classic Feng Shui problems that, anybody who knows anything about it, you can point it out. It's like the smoking gun of why that restaurant keeps turning over, et cetera. So, yeah, sleep, poo-poo, and cook. We can go down that rabbit hole if you want.
Well, let's take a quick break. You're listening to Health Made Radio. I'm here with Karen Rausch Carter. She is an expert in Feng Shui, how to set up your environment for health and success. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Health Made Radio. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt. I'm here with Karen Rausch Carter. She is the best-selling author of Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life, and Make a Shift, Change Your Life. So I'm curious. I mean, things that people don't recognize or have an impact. I mean, we're talking about toilets. Let's kind of discuss things that, toilets that leak a little bit, or we have things like, clocks that are standing still. I mean, what's simple things like that, what kind of impact does that have on an individual?
So all I have to do is listen to somebody complaining, and I pretty much know what they have in their house. And so if you have, I would say the quality of your water is equivalent to the quality of your income. And if you have water leaking, you might have money leaking away. If you have stagnation around you in the water, maybe there's just like skanky bird bath water or something like that, or something that catches rainwater and just is very, mosquito-y or something like that. The stagnation of your water can show you that you are not in the word for money is currency. So we want to get in a flow of money. And so there's a lot of connection between time, money, water element, and I would say, yes, if you have prosperity issues, it's worth it to pay the plumber now to stop the leaks from happening. I know a lot of people go, I can't afford to pay the plumber. I'm like, you can't afford not to, So let's stop the money leaking away by stopping the leaks. And then, of course, time and the stopped timepieces. There are dead watches in drawers. There's dead clocks everywhere. All the appliances have the different time or wrong time, and people wonder why they're so late and out of time and don't have the right timing for things. And, there's a lot of connections between clocks and what's going on in people's lives, too. So, yeah, you picked a couple good ones there. So.
Well, thank you. And another one I've heard you talk about is when you have your when you feel like you're beating your head against the wall. I mean, you've been talking about that, and like you're not able to move forward. So, what would you look for when somebody makes that statement?
I would look for their desk to be facing a wall. It's usually, I say the more space in front of your face, the more opportunity you'll have. So having your desk with your back up against a solid wall and looking towards the door, but have a lot of room in between, that's a lot of money and opportunity, and people can come in and present you with options and ideas. But if you're facing a wall, you'll have things like, I beat my head against a wall, I don't get ahead in the game of life, or in my job, etc. And so having good backing behind you, solid wall, think of the the Pope, the priest, the judge, they don't have windows behind them. They have a nice throne back or chair back or wall behind them. They don't have windows behind them, aka the Oval Office. Never do we have 100% backing, So if you're complaining like nobody's got my back, get the wall to be at your back. Don't have the windows behind you. Kids with windows at the head of their bed, people with windows at the head of their bed are usually bullied, or they're in a vulnerable position. So watch out. And they would say things like, well, I didn't see that one coming, or nobody's got my back, or I was stabbed in the back by a friend, so to speak. So watch how your language is, and it'll tip you off to the physical environmental issue that you have in your house if you're nimble about looking at how the words that you're using turn into the literal nouns and pieces of three-dimensional space around you.
So it's almost like you have to listen to your own language, or how you're feeling about what's going on, and really be clear about that, and then try to isolate, what is it in my environment that is creating exactly that feeling. So you're mentioning things like, mirrors, painting your door red, and crystals and things. I mean, and these seems to be, when you think of Feng Shui, you have people coming and they're hanging things up. And I mean, so what are the uses for these things, and when do you need them? Why do you use them?
Well, I would say mirrors. I just posted a little thing to my people that are on my little newsletter list about the infinity mirror situation. If you have a mirror at the head of your bed and a mirror at the foot of your bed, neither one of them would I recommend. I would not recommend mirrors in your bedroom at all because of the doubling of the size of the room. People like to sleep in more yin, more smaller, cozier spaces. There's a rule that says there's no difference between it or a reflection of it, which can work in your favor in Feng Shui or against you. So if you're sleeping in bed and there's you over there in the mirror, the closet doors that are mirrored, right? There's you over there, and then there's you here. I would say you're getting about half of your energy that's coming back to you to rejuvenate and regenerate you. So think of it like that. You're sharing it with the you over there in the mirror. But it also can work in your favor if you're forced to be in that subservient position where you are, facing like you're in a cubicle and the door to your cubicle is behind you. You can place a mirror with that opening that's behind you, and now you can put it in front of you. So the door is now in front of you, and you have that more. You're free to be more. Nobody's going to creep up on me. Nobody's going to scare me and tap me on the shoulder because I can see them coming because I now have the door in front of me. So there are ways of using mirrors to your advantage, and there's ways of not. If you have a mirror, if you have a fireplace in the front right-hand part of your house, I'm just throwing this one out here because of COVID times and lungs are important these days. And if you have a fireplace in the front right-hand part of your house, you walk in the front door and immediately over to the right somewhere is a fireplace. That's kind of like inflammation in the lung area, according to all these patterns that we're talking about. That's a long story about how I got to that deduction. But if you have a fireplace over there, you might want to hang a mirror above the mantle of that fireplace. And that is, quote, like water dousing the fire, because mirrors equal water element. And that's just a really good lung tip that might be a good helper for somebody out there these days. And so there's many, many different ways we can use mirrors and crystals to bring about the energy shifts that we're looking for specifically for you and your little one-off issues, depending on how you're complaining in life and what you're willing and want to change and upgrade about your life.
Yeah, it's like a rabbit hole. The more you learn, the more you know that you need to learn. And yeah, that's incredible. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Health Made Radio. I'm here with Karen Rausch Carter. She is the best-selling author of Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life, and Make a Shift, Change Your Life. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Health Made Radio. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt. I'm here with Karen Rausch Carter, and we are chatting about Feng Shui. Feng Shui is an ancient art where you use principles to arrange your environment to maximize your health and your wealth and so many different things. And even like Karen was talking about, if you're dealing with inflammation in your lungs, then you can look for things within your home that is promoting that inflammation in your lungs, like a fireplace, and then using then a mirror to cool that inflammation down to kind of that the fireplace is creating, just because it is located that in the lung area in your house. So you're talking now about that there are different areas of the house that represent different body parts. So you're saying there's kind of a lung area. Are there other areas of the house that relates to the body?
Every single thing in the universe, every single issue you can come up with, it goes somewhere in that pattern, like the little rainbow I was talking about earlier, the little pattern of the Feng Shui world. And that map is used as a, it's kind of like the, I guess we'll just call it the map of Feng Shui. So every body part, time of day, time of year, you name it, it is inside this map. So we have body parts, organs, issues of life. I don't know. Do we want to go around the body part? There's where you are in the family dynamic, whether you're the eldest son or the youngest daughter, that's in there. I mean, you name it. And this is how I can figure out. Like, I had one client. It was an Indian family that neither of the parents wore glasses, and they had 3 daughters, and the middle daughter had glasses, but nobody else had eye issues except the middle daughter. And so the parents are like, we don't know why she has glasses, because we don't even have glasses. Like, how did her eyes get to be an issue? I said, let's go to the center back of your house, and I'm looking for a broken pane in a window. I'm looking for a window problem in the center back of the house. And they're like, what? Like, how would, of all the, what? How did you come up with that? Well, just because I know all the little patterns, right? So windows are the eyes of the house, doors are the mouths, and the center back area of the house governs the middle daughter. And sure enough, there was a pane in the French door that's broken. I said, how long have you owned this house? Longer than the kids have been here. Like, we had all of our kids in this house. That's how long. I said, how long has this pane been broken? It's been broken since we owned the house. We just didn't think it was a problem. And I was like, and they were like, of all the things, a window pane broken. There's one window pane broken. It's in the center back of the house. And I was like, that's what it is. So the smoking gun right there. And I mean, as bizarre as that is, it looks like I'm being psychic, or it looks like but I just know I just know all the little things. And so if you just know all the little things, you can just, I can tell people, oh, you've got a knife in your nightstand because you said you just were about to have shoulder surgery, right? And I go, why don't you get that knife out of your nightstand? And they're like, how do you know I have a knife in my nightstand? I'm like, because I've seen the patterns, just like a doctor looks at the bumps on your arms and they go, that's measles or whatever, that's shingles or whatever it is, and you're like, of all the choices, how do you know? And you're like, I've seen it a million times. And that's how I've seen it a million times in people's environments, to the point of I practically, they tell me their complaint, I know what's going on in their house. So what I do.
Fascinating. How fascinating. So, I mean, it almost sounds like just with you chatting with them over the phone, and you can just, you get a picture of what's going on in the house. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I get a lot done over the phone. That's true. So, I mean, I do telephone consultations for people all the time. Some, I go to people's homes and businesses, but I also do telephone consultations, and I have a lot of programs online. People can send in their pictures and floor plans and stuff, and we chat online. If you want to just get started with looking at the how to position yourself, like the bed and the desk and all those positions where you want to spend the most amount of time, if you go to moveitwithkaren.com, there's a little webinar on that got your back kind of successful position for furniture. So, I mean, I try to do whatever I can do to sort of break it down. I consider myself like the welcome wagon to Feng Shui, and I try to break it down for people that are just like, they don't know anything and how to get started. And that's been my joy, to sort of make it logical for people and not so esoteric and sounding so like woo-woo. It's basic, it's interesting when I tell people that the Farmer's Almanac, I consider the United States' first Feng Shui, pamphlet is, to how to arrange when to plant the seeds and get the highest yield, So we just didn't take it much past the agrarian stage. And so we, consider these Feng Shui rules sort of the adjunct to that farmer's almanac type situation about coming out with the highest yield in life.
Yeah, and then it's exactly that. I mean, you create the most ultimate situation or environment for that plant to grow in the best possible way, and that's exactly, that's how you create your house. And from what I understand, also, I mean, like you're saying, there's so many different maps on the house in regards to, like you're saying, your middle child, first child, which organ part, but then also there's certain kind of main functions. I mean, like there's a prosperity corner. So if you have a leaky toilet in that corner, then that's like the worst possible scenario. I mean, so what are some of the kind of main areas of the house that if people are dealing with health issues, which corner should they focus on, or prosperity issues, which corner should they focus on, and so forth?
Right. So if you're having issues with your marriage or your love life, or you don't have a love life, it would be the back right. And this is just standing in your threshold of your door, looking straight ahead and over towards the back right. And maybe your door turns. And when you're standing in your front door and all you have is a little piece of hallway and the whole house is to the left or something, that is, I'd say, well, there you go. Like that's the problem. We have to fix that. So, so the back right would be relationships. It's also about the fertility and the abdominal organs, things like that in the back right. And it governs the head woman as well. I think there might be a lot of women on the call. So whatever's in the back right, maybe the back right-hand piece of the house is like chipped out, like there's a patio there or something. That's very telling in how little energy you might have, or you might feel like, the unsupported in life, so to speak, because that area of the house is actually missing in the house. The head man is the front right-hand part of the house, kind of where we were talking about that fireplace before. So if there's head man issues, or if that piece of the house is missing, then he might not feel supported. The back left corner is that prosperity corner, like we were talking about. Also governs the hips. A lot of people that have hip issues might be looking in that back left-hand part of the house. Oh my gosh, I could just go on and on. How much time do I have? You got to stop me.
I'll stop you when we're running short. But
actually,
I want
getting
people
energy
just
to
to
the
kind
front door.
So what happens with the front door?
Yeah, just if you just don't have any energy, you don't have any oomph, you don't have any opportunities coming your way, I would say look at the walk from the street to your actual front door to see how much it takes for opportunity to actually find you and knock. If you have a bunch of hedges in front of your front door, or a tree straight in line with your front door, or the front door is on the side of the house and nobody knows which side to go to. Is it the garbage can side or is it the front door side? I don't know which way to go because the front of the house is a garage door and you got to pick one, And so setting up those clues and cues to actually get the energy easily to the front door. Maybe it's a little chime over by the doorknob side of the door that would alert people via sound that that's the doorknob side of the house versus the garbage can side of the house. Or, there's all these just little tips and tricks, what arches and gates and just all the pattern language of space. As I'm a landscape architect by schooling, so understanding which things say what is an arched doorway. An arched doorway is more of a relaxed vacation type doorway shape versus a rectangular doorway shape. So, retired people have more like it's the arched doorway. It's more indicative of the metal element, the autumn time of the year, the autumn time of life. I mean, every pattern, I have 1,000 things I want to say about it and what it's connected to. But if you're literally just struggling to make money to get energy for health, I would really sweep the pathway to the front door, wipe down your front door, make the doorbell and the light, and give me a fresh welcome mat, put some flowers by the front door, make them pop, And if you need to, paint your front door a bright, eye-catching color to get the opportunity to actually come to your front door, if you're just really just shriveled from opportunities coming your way, that would be a good tip for anybody just massively struggling.
And I'm curious also, 'cause some people have, where the driveway is kind of in a slant, so you have to walk upwards to get to the house. Does that mean that the energy is, like you're saying, if it takes a lot of energy to walk up to the door, then opportunities are frequently lost? I mean, so how do you change that? Because that is a kind of physical location of the house.
Yes, that I'm literally having a call with a client tomorrow who wants to buy a house where the street is higher than the front door, and there's actually a retaining wall a little bit out from the front of the house, and you have to go down some steps. And when you're standing at the street, you only see the top half of the door because the house is kind of sunken down a half a floor down the hill. And I'm going to recommend it's not worth buying. It's not worth buying that house. When you sit lower than the street, you do have sort of an uphill battle from the get-go, just coming out the front door to get on with life, So, I don't want to get into too specifics because people might take me and like whatever, and I haven't seen your home. So, but yeah, there are ups and downs for everything, and I don't know why, as like I said, a land planner and landscape architect that I am, that some of this stuff actually gets built just astounds me. But it's unfortunate that the end user, has to deal with the fallout of the poor designer's choices. So it's I'm here to try to set the wrongs right as designers out there of physical spaces, like architects and land developers and landscape architects.
So it almost sounds like if a person is looking at buying a house, they need to consult with you first, because,
exactly.
Well, Karen, it's been such a pleasure.
And unfortunately, people are attracted to the thing that they're in right now, and that's the problem. They keep jumping in the same frying pan to fire, and just because it's their energy, like attracts like. So it's breaking that pattern and choosing something better for yourself. So call me.
and
call me, I can help.
Thank you. Yeah, and that is true. We feel comfortable with where we're at right now. So change is scary. So we are drawn to the same dysfunctions that we are used to. And that's why it's important to have somebody on the outside to look at it, to change it, that is good for you, because it's hard to be able to look at yourself objectively. So, well, thank you, Karen. Yeah. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the show today. This is such a fascinating subject, and I mean, just looking at it, I mean, talking to you, I recognize how complex it is. So it is like a doctor of the house. I mean, it's not just hanging a little mirror here or a trinket there, even though these are things that can be done. But, to looking at it, holistically, looking at the whole picture, you have to include so many different factors and components, and that's why, somebody like yourself becomes invaluable.
Yeah, thanks. And if, like I said, go to moveitwithkaren.com, type in your email, you'll start to get some tips from me. Or if you just want to go to Karen, R-A-U-C-H, Karen Rausch Carter, KarenRauschCarter.com. And, you can see the whole website and the things I offer and the programs that I have, and just whatever I can do to support you and be helpful. That's my passion, and I hope I can help you, find yours and be, optimally positioned in your environment for your successful future.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. That is it for today. You're listening to Health Made Radio. Remember, check us out at healthmade.co. Health is what you make it. You make it. You make it. You make it. You make it.